when you walk in their living room, or they get a letter in the mail, or a phone call from you, 85% of them is going to look you up online and see who you are. How many of you do the same thing when you get a business card? You look that company up online. You look that person up online. I can't tell you how many deals I've gotten when I've talked to sellers and they talk about other people that came and put an offer in, or was talking to other investors and they didn't put an offer in yet, or signed an offer yet. And I say, well, did you check them out online? Well, let's see what this person looks like. I will actually do this. They don't even have a website. Are you sure you want to do business with somebody who don't have a website? How can a person who don't have a website buy your house? Business 101 is what? Have a presence online. Get a business card. So, the first thing they're going to do is look you up. Look your company up. So, that's why, to me, that whole web presence comes after, when depending on your budget, that comes after you start making money. Or if you have a budget to do it as soon as possible, you do it as soon as possible. But I want you to start making money getting deals first if money is an issue. If not, you have to get that web presence up and running. Because a large number of my stuff comes online from the marketing that we do, from the optimization that we do, from the searches that we rig so that my company stuff will show up first. Any questions? Because this is your time right now. We're at the point where we've gone to closing, we've gotten the checks, and we're taking the testimonial videos. And then what we're doing with that testimonial video, we're aggregating it all over the internet. We're putting it on our website. We're putting it on all different types of video sites. If you go to a website called Fiverr, they will take that video and propagate it to over 45 different video hosting sites on the internet. That one video.
How do you spell?
Fiverr. Fiverr. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because I'm using keywords in the actual video itself. Such as, Maryland's best real estate company closes another deal. Maryland's best real estate company helps another seller. All of my videos is having these keywords in it. Why? Because I know that Real Estate Maryland has over 800 plus views per month. Meaning, people are searching for that term to find out real estate in Maryland. Not to mention, I want my information to be showed up as one of the best companies to work with. And they're going to be hit with a testimonial video from a person who actually worked with me and closed the deal.
Do you have to ask permission for the video?
Well, you're doing it at the title, at the closing. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You said you might have to give me a testimonial. In fact, we got a sneaky way of doing this. And I think I have it up here. This is when we're doing it without the title company. I mean, we've already closed the deal and we're going back a month or 2 months later. Now you have to visualize it because it's not up on the board. But what we do is this. It's an actual page that we give the person who we did business with a link in their email. And they say, if you don't mind taking a few minutes, could you let us know about your experience working with the company? And on the page, it says, if you like working with Chucky Buy Yucky Houses, click here. If you did not have a good experience working with Chucky Buy Yucky Houses, click here. So it's 2 links on the page, plus the 2, what you call the headlines. That's all that's on that page. So the people that say they like working with us, the link goes directly to Google Plus reviews. So they're actually putting in a review for us on Google+. The people who said they did not have a good experience working with us, the link goes directly to my contact box on my website. Think about that. I'm giving them an opportunity to vent, but not post it all over the internet. Because here's another way I get business in my marketing company. I get investors, and this is a true story. One of the leading investors here in Maryland came to me about 4 months ago. And he said, Charles, I'm not getting anything online. What's going on? Can you help me figure this out? I typed in his company. The first thing that came up is Google reviews. And 3 of the reviews out of the 5 talked about how much it was a crap to work with this guy's company. And this is a guy that was doing anywhere from 5 to 7 deals a month. And this was his presence online. So we set up a whole strategy for alleviating that. But the point I'm trying to make is that perception is reality in real estate investing. So when you have the availability, get an online presence, mimic your website with your Facebook, with your YouTube, with your Twitter, create a whole brand. Even if you're only doing 1 deal, 2 deals, whatever. It's not expensive. Packages can start off as $900, which includes video, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, website design, everything. So it's not expensive. So, but when you're able to do so, think in terms of a business and not just a hobby.
Got a question?
Is it necessary that we become an LLC?
The entity selection is really something that I like to talk to people about. In regards to the LLC, when should you do it? I'm a guy that believes in you need to start making money first. Once you start making money, then go ahead and LLC, incorporate, sole proprietorship, whatever you choose to do. My strategy of choice is LLC, but that doesn't mean it has to be your strategy of choice. We do multiple levels with LLCs for a lot of different reasons. We also do trusts. So it depends on what's best for you. But if you are working on a limited budget, don't worry about getting an LLC right now. Worry about getting marketing to get deals. Because without deals, the LLC ain't gonna be not one damn good. That's what you need to worry about, first and foremost. And here's something else I want to advise you. From the point you start in this business, you no longer is a real estate investor. You are a marketer. Because your business revolves around marketing. I don't care how many strategies I know. A strategy ain't gonna do me not one damn good if my phone don't ring. So you better make marketing as one of the key points to your education. Whether it's online, offline, whatever. That better be one of the key points to you doing it. That's the only reason why I can do deals in 5 different states. Because I can market and get leads to come in through landing pages, through text blast marketing, through squeeze pages, and so on. Because of marketing. That's the #1 thing we need to learn.
Question?
Okay, when you're at the table or whatever with the seller, would you kind of force the seller to give you a price first, or is there a
But when you say at the table, remember I've already gotten the price all the way to here. We talked about we got the price already approved here.
Okay, yeah, okay, but at that point, do you have the seller give you the price that they want first, or do you?
Good question.
Or is there a separate strategy if they want you to come with the price?
Good question. The question is, how do we get the person to say the numbers first?
And if they don't, what strategy do you use?
Exactly. And I use a couple of them, and I teach a couple of them. The first thing, let's say I get the objection to, I'll give you an example. One of the issues you're going to have as an investor is, how do I get the person, like I get this call from a Mastermind student a lot. How do you get the person to tell you how much they owe on their mortgage? How do you get the person to tell you how much is their mortgage payment?
Ask.
Well, you want to ask them, but they say no. So The first answer is, they're asking them already. How do you get them to say yes? That should have been the question I should have said. And the one statement that I've made, that I've said time and time again, and it's probably because I'm confident on getting a yes as to one of the main reasons 95% of the time, my people and I get a yes when we ask them that question. Is this the answer? Well, Gary, the only reason why I'm asking you that question is because I want to give you the highest dollar amount I can for your property. Is that what you like for as well? You see how Gary just shook his head with me? I programmed him to say yes. And the best way in which I can do that is to know these numbers. Would you like me to do that for you? So that's what I'm doing. Now that's in person. On the phone, I'm saying the exact same thing. So I'm saying that let me help you. And the best way I can help you is to know this number. Because this number is going to give me the numbers I need to give you the highest price I can give you for your house. And Gary wants the highest price I can give him for his house.
If he asks you how,
How I'm going to get the highest price?
by knowing that number, yes.
Well, I'll tell him, simply put, it's going to give me at least 2 or 3 different ways in which I can buy your property from you. One of which I may be able to take over payments. Another way may be able to give you all cash. Another way may be able to do a substitution which combines the combination of both. But at least it'll give me options that we can work with.
Got a question, okay?
Now, Martha brought up a very good point. Every question I get, or every answer that I get, I want to take it down to the 100-foot view. So, why do you need to sell your house? Person says, I need to pay a bill. You don't just leave them with there. Well, if you mind me asking, what bill you need to pay? Well, I got this hospital bill, I got this hospital bill I need to pay. You don't leave it there. Well, how much is the hospital bill? About $8,000. They just told you, if you can figure out a way to give them $8,000, because that's what they need to sell their house. That's the reason why they're selling their house. If you can figure out a way to get them $8,000 out of this transaction, you can buy their property. So every answer that I get, I need to drill that answer down to the 100-foot view, where there's no more answers or questions that need to follow up.
Okay, a question. I did a wholesale deal and got an offer, got a price. The seller agreed to it. Then they had stuff on their title that they didn't know. It's like, that's the problem I'm running to. Like, they had a mechanic's bill on there. Like, they didn't know about that. It's like, if we made a price to him, we made an offer to him. And then when we checked the title, the title was terrible. Right? He had stuff on it he didn't know, but he had a city had actually financed the, what's that thing called? A hot water heater. They had not taxes, you already knew the taxes, but they had a home improvement bill on there. They didn't know about it, they paid it off. It still was owed on there. Then it's like, they didn't know they had ground rent. I mean, it's like, so that's the problem sometimes, but not all the time, about the situation with the title. Because you make an offer, that's great, they accept the offer, but then they told you everything they know.
Right.
But then the stuff they don't know, that's attached to the property. That's the problem I had ran running into there.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case with some deals. Luckily, that's not the majority. Some deals, they are going to fall out of bed where you can't close. But we've done deals where there were liens and stuff where we've been able to renegotiate the actual dollar amounts on liens and get them for less and sold. We've also been in a situation where we've actually taken over the lien position and then foreclose on properties underneath the new lien position. So there's a lot of things you can do, and there's a lot of things that can come in the process of closing that deal that could cause that deal, even though you've done everything you possibly could, that deal could still fall out of bed from unforeseen circumstances. I agree with you 100%. And that's where you pick up yourself, and you know that you're a professional, and you just say, next. That's it. Next. Martha.
Have you ever done anything like turned that into a private lending opportunity?
Everything, let's put it, have I ever done it where I've turned into a private lending opportunity? I can't recall turning it into a private lending opportunity. I can recall, like I said, negotiating the liens, taking over lien positions, but never lending. Well, let's put it like this. The only way that's an issue is if the numbers that these liens are now making these numbers look like is a position where the deal isn't a good deal right now. That doesn't mean that you can't buy it another kind of way as a way of controlling it. So I'll give you an example. Great question. I had a person who had a property they couldn't sell. The reason why they couldn't sell it because there was a lien on it that had to be paid off once the property was sold, and the person, for the lack of a better word, wasn't going to make anything on the deal. They're upside down on it, they weren't going to make anything, and they did not want to give this person their money. So they asked me, well, what could you do in that situation? Well, simple. How much is the current mortgage payment? $495 a month. How many bedrooms and bath is it? 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, with a first level that could be turned into a bedroom. Well, we could actually, and this is it, we could actually structure a deal where we give you $200 a month on top of your mortgage payment, take over the mortgage for 3 years, and you don't have to worry about anything, selling the property or anything else. Because all I'm interested in the profit, cash. So I could care less if there's a lien on the property that has to be paid off. Because all I'm doing is controlling the property for the profit of monthly cash flow. And that's how we structured the deal. We gave him $200 a month on top of his mortgage payment for 3 years. In fact, we still got the property, and that's what we're doing. He's not even worried about selling the property now. So even people that have liens and so on their properties, if the numbers could make sense, those deals you can get in a soft position or a hard position. A soft position, option to buy with a residential lease, with an option to sublease. A hard position, subject to getting into the property, subject to. I'm sorry, speak up a little bit, Juanita.
I'm a little lost with what Mark was asking you, what you were saying about turning it into a lending position.
So for instance, let's say you could make $40,000 off of a deal, and you get, the news that they owe $7,000 to the IRS, or one of the examples that was just given.
Mm-hmm.
So turning yourself into the private lender where you lend them that money short term, you reap a fee from that, you pay that off, and then they get to go to closing and you still get the deal and you get a profit, plus you earn money on the private lending. All right, thank
Well,
you.
my question is, if you was going to get that profit on the closing anyway, why you got to lend them?
In some situations, they can't close until that is fulfilled.
You're talking about prior, okay.
Yeah.
You're talking about liens that have to be paid prior to
Yeah.
closing. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes all sense in the world.
I was wondering, some homeowners are real sensitive when you go in their house and turn it repairs. When you checking this off, do you say anything or you just checking it off?
Sometimes we do say stuff, but it's nothing really nothing that's demeaning to that homeowner. It's like, wow, when was the last time you fixed that? What did I just step into? You don't want to insult that homeowner. You don't, and that strategy, I use that strategy to negotiate. I could use that strategy to negotiate hotel rooms and stuff. I'll give you an example. When we was negotiating, when we did the prop at the Quality Inn, and then also here, this person would tell us how much they charge for the room rent. And the first thing I would say on the phone is, ooh. And don't say anything. And the person say, but what we can do is make it a little bit less with that word. And And then they will wind up talking themselves down because I didn't say anything other than the assumption of that's too high. And that's what that will do. And I've done it, negotiating the room here for this room, and also at the quality inn.
Listen, hold it, before you go, I'm sorry. Just, how many of you getting something out of this so far? I just want to make sure I don't, because I'll send them home. Okay, look, you like this, and how many be here next month? I saw a bunch of you last month too.
Oh, I got something in store for you next month.
Okay.
And
No, go ahead.
I'm going to cut you off.
I know that.
One of the young ladies that I'm working with, we're doing consulting for, her name is Brittany Calloway. She's going to be doing a presentation on how to set up your business to invest in multiple states. She's been in the business for 14 months. After 5 months in the business, she quit her job, and she's doing it full time. And in the last 8 months, she's done 7 or 8 rehabs and 4 wholesale deals in 5 different states. And she's collected over $500,000 in private lending money. And she's going to show you guys how she's able to do that here and investing in multiple states and stuff. So she's going to be the speaker next week.
And we heard it first at the Mastermind meeting, by the way. Oh, but you can get more also. She was one of the folks that we interviewed in the Duru interviews with Clifton McKnight, also on this page.
Keep those questions. Remember those questions, please.
Okay. Yeah, the real thing, I just want to make sure we have a cruise. How many of you know about the cruise?
Well, how many are going on the cruise? Okay.
So,
Okay, the cruise?
yes, I'm done now.
The cruise is actually January the 17th to the 24th, and we're leaving out of Miami, and it's going to be for 8 days. The port of calls is going to be Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, and St. Martin. So the days that you're at sea, we're going to have seminars and so on. I got about 9 speakers, all talking about subjects from wholesaling, rehabbing, and no one is selling anything. It's all content, just like at this meeting. And we're going to have midnight sessions where you're in your pajamas and you're learning different strategies. Lunch and learn sessions. We got a luau session that's going to be on one of the beaches. And 3 days of seminars. And the days that you're not at sea at the port of call, you just enjoy the islands and stuff. So it's going to be for 8 days, leaving out of Miami, January the 17th to the 24th. Just go to RealDealMeetupCruise.com. RealDealMeetupCruise.com. We already sold the first 50 cabins already. That means 100 people are already going, and we just got another 50 cabins. So RealDealMeetupCruise.com is where, and the best part is the cabins start off at just $590.
Wow.
Now, a couple of questions that was left out.
What do you mean by wholesaling? I keep hearing that. I'm not.
Yeah. What is wholesaling? Wholesaling, simply put, is the process of controlling a property and reselling your interest or control in that property. For example, I'm the investor talking to Adam. Adam has a house for sale. I tell Adam, I can buy your property. Adam says, yes, I want your offer. So I put a contract on Adam's property, which is the contract to purchase. By me being the investor, in law, the state of Maryland says that a person who has equitable position in the property has the right to sell that property. A contract means that now you have an equitable position in the actual outcome of the distribution of that property. So now with a contract, I'm able to take that contract and sell my interest for a profit, hence wholesale. So all I'm doing is flipping my position for a profit or a higher profit than what's stated on the contract. The difference between the final buyer and the actual assignment fee is what you call your actual profit. So you're basically controlling a property, selling your interest in that property to an end buyer for profit.
I have a question in that regard. So how long do you typically hold the property?
Well, the question is, how long do you typically hold the deal? We talked about it here, that I don't want to have a property without a contract on it for no more than 14 days. Typical time for contracts is anywhere between 30, 45, and 60 days. It depends on the actual contract itself.
Yeah.
On another note, Clifton called me in on a commercial deal he was working, and I'm not going to give the location, but it's in downtown Baltimore. It's a deal where the guy is trying to sell 44 office spaces. And we walked through the whole process of how this deal should be structured and stuff, and we actually went to the actual conference room with him to negotiate the deal with the seller. Come to find out, the seller has a whole lot about him that he wasn't saying. Reason being, one of the biggest owners in this whole equation is a condominium process, or should I say it's a condo type deal, 44 office condo spaces. One of the actual owners who have the majority interest in the association and the condominiums actually was a partner of mine. We actually did the whole Mount Vernon property, buying all the apartment buildings in downtown Baltimore. So I had, underground information on the actual condos and stuff that this guy didn't know we knew about. So the point I'm trying to make, and this is a key point I want you to understand about this business. The numbers will never lie. It will tell you if it's a good deal or a bad deal. But the person telling you the numbers will lie their asses off. So that's why every deal, you don't look at the numbers they gave you. You look at the numbers you discovered through your due diligence. Don't ever take anyone's word that it's a good deal unless they can prove to you based on your due diligence that it's a good deal. So keep that in mind. It's not what the person tells you, it's what you prove to be a fact. The numbers will never lie. And as long as you know how to find the numbers, you don't have to worry about anything. Because you can be very safe in this business, as safe as you possibly can be. Because stuff is still going to happen. Trust me on that. I consider myself a real number whiz. And 6-7 years ago, I lost $500,000 on a deal. But the point I'm trying to make is, it's the deals that you do that's going to define where you're at in your business and your education. Keep that in mind. Any other questions?
So I wanted to answer from another angle his question about wholesaling, and that's and or joint venturing, which means somebody else has control of the deal, and you bring them a buyer, and you get paid a fee. So for instance, the gentleman that asked the question lives in Ohio. I have nationwide inventory. I took a young man that was a newbie that is going to school here in Maryland and is from New York. And I said, I'll send you some inventory, just walk through the process with me if you have buyers, and we'll do your first deal. The first deal he's sitting in front of buyers with is $8.5 million. He's never done a deal before. So that's a joint venture. So, somebody that's never done it before, by joint venturing with someone who has, can you do a deal together?
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. What is the advantage of the subject to? I've heard that a lot, but from my perspective, if you're going to hold it 3 years, and if the market doesn't increase, I can sell it for a profit, what's the benefit?
Well, I didn't do a subject to for 3 years. The subject to deal was a deal that we purchased and rehabbed and sold right away. The subject to is a deal that you're going to want to take over and sell right away, not hold for 3 years. You're going to do an option with a residential lease, or an option with a long-term master contract on a deal that you're going to hold for long term. And the reason why The first thing you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you're doing a single contract to take over a property for 3, 4, 5 years, and then you're ready to give that you're ready to put that person out of that property, such as a lease option. And because you gave that person a contract that was verbiage said contract lease with option to buy, you now gave that person an equitable position in your property. Now you cannot evict that person, you have to foreclose on the person. So what most courses don't teach you is, when you're doing lease with options and subject strategies like that, you separate these two documents. You're doing an option agreement and you're doing a rental agreement. Both of them separate. The option agreement that states that the option is going to occur at X amount of time, 3 years down the road. The rental agreement says that in the next 3 years you'll be renting the property for X dollar amount. That way you can evict the person and not have to foreclose on the person. So you separate the documents. In regards to the subject to, subject twos are generally done, what we use in our company, are properties where we want to come onto the actual deal by maintaining a fixed position of ownership. And then no longer than 3 to 5, 6 months tops, and I'm taking over a property subject to. So it's not a long-term subject to. It's a lot shorter. Because I'm getting in and out, most of the time they're rehab deals, where we're taking over, just have to come with the rehab money and not the purchase price. Now, I'm going to ask the you two in a second. The next question should be, well, how do you get a person to take a subject to? And the easiest way, and should I say the number one objection you're going to get from a homeowner when you say the subject to is a subject to, what is that? So I tell them, the subject to, we don't call it a subject to. What we call a subject to, which is nothing more than a play on words, is our purchase to buy right now program. And our purchase to buy right now program is nothing more than a subject to. Because people are going to understand the subject to. And here's how this works, Mr. Jackson. What we'll do is take over, I'm sorry, this is how it works, Greg. What we'll do is we'll take over your mortgage payment. And we'll pay that money each and every month, day in, day out. And then when we're able to sell the property, once we finish repairs and work done, we'll go ahead and cash out of that property, and you'll walk away free and clear of that property. Now, during this period of time, the actual mortgage will still be in your name, but the actual security you'll have on this property is the fact knowing that we're going to take over the payments, and you have no concern with this property at all from this day forward. Now, Gary's going to say the number one objection you will get. Well, how do I know you're going to make the payments? Great question, Gary. I'm an investor, and I'm in this business to make money. What's going to happen through this program, I'll be putting money into your property to rehab it, fix it up, and get it ready to sell. What does that mean? If I'm unable to make your mortgage payments, I lose all the money that I put into your property from day one. Not only that, you gain all the improvements from what I put into your property from day one. So I would be a fool not to make your mortgage payments each and every month. Not to mention, each and every month, you're still able to contact your lender and check and see if your mortgage payment was made. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in doing? Thank you. That's how I explain it to the homeowners. That's how I teach my team to explain it to the homeowners. That's how you're able to work the negotiation process when you're talking about subject twos. But it's not a major strategy. It's just another strategy that you use to exit out of deals when it fits the actual situation.
I want to piggyback on marketing. I know we've been going into stuff, but I want to piggyback on marketing
Sure.
in different states.
Go.
I deal with a VA, I'm a virtual assistant. Virtual assistants 4 years. I did very well with that.
Okay.
But now in multiple states, I actually maybe I should try it. I stopped doing it because I do a lot. I bang the phones all the time. I call them, but I'm trying to get more wholesale buyers, the wholesale buyers I'm finding. And what do you think about the VA or virtual assistant?
Well, you're asking a man that has,
I
don't know how many virtual assistants.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, I would have loved to show you the slide of my company. But I think right now we have about 13 virtual assistants. 6 or 7 joint venture partners, project manager, 1 software engineer, and numerous other people. So my whole business is built around virtual assistants and joint venturing and stuff. So absolutely I love it. That's the only way you can scale your business from 1, 2, 3 deals a month is with systems. And at that point, when you're doing 5, 10, 15 deals a month, you can't do it. You cannot run 15 deals a month and do it yourself. There's no way in the world you can do it. At the height of us doing rehabbing, we're doing over 87 rehabs a year. We had a total of 4 crews on the streets every month. 5 different trucks. So there's no way in the world one person could run something like that. You better have systems and organizations in place. I have a person in California that does all the code enforcement violation stuff from California. And that's everything we're doing in many states that we're doing code enforcement violations on. So I love virtual assistants. When Brittany comes here next month, she's going to tell you how she got started with her working in 5 states, coming to a real deal meetup event when I talked about working with virtual assistants. She mapped out everything I said and put it into practice in her business and then took it to the next level. That's really the key to the success and to these meetings, these events with my mastermind students and so on. It's not just what I say. It's you taking your initiative and your push and your drive and then adding more to it so that you don't have to wait till next month to hear something else. That's where the true success comes in. And I've said with all the members up here that anyone that's out there willing to give you knowledge and information, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Now, not all knowledge is going to be good knowledge. Keep that in mind. But it's about doing and about making up excuses as to why you didn't do it. Clifton talked about how sometimes I can be abrasive. He's absolutely right. Because my way of working with my people, Evelyn, is I'm going to push you to do what you need to do in your business, but at a certain point, I want you to tell me what you should do on this deal. And based on our conversations and my thoughts in regard to your knowledge, I'm going to make that happen for each person at a different point in time. Because now Evelyn is at the point with the deal she's done where she can start telling me whether or not this is a good deal, and I say, yeah, well, why do you think that, and so on. Clifford is the same way. Brian is the same way. Brian, the other Brian that was not here today, he's the same way. These guys are doing deals on a regular basis. And they don't need me to confirm it's a good deal other than to say, is there another way in which we can generate more income from it? So I want to create teachers, not students. That's my goal, to create teachers. That's what really builds the community. Not people that need to learn, but people that are willing to share and teach. Any other questions?
Maybe you explained this, but can you go over this again? How does the seller benefit from a subject to?
Great question. Well, first of all, what would be a circumstance for a seller to say yes for a subject to? The number one reason is that they're upside down in their mortgage and they may be about to lose their property. So that's the reason why. Well, I'm going to help them by making the mortgage payment. I'm going to help them by bringing the mortgage payment up to date. I'm going to help them by stopping the bleeding from an issue that they're having with the house. So those are the reasons why they would say yes. So I'm looking for specific situations where I know are situations that could be great for a subject to. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, so you sell the property, you say in about 3 to 6 months. is there any financial benefits to the seller at that point?
Well, you're structuring the deal where you're giving the seller money and so on.
Okay.
Yes, you're structuring the deal so it's a win-win. You're not just taking all the payments. If I'm going to make $40,000, $50,000, I better be giving that seller some money. I mean, I'm not out here to rip people off. You have to take that mentality. You're here to help and work with people. It has to be a win-win. A whole lot of something is better than a little bit of nothing.
Charles, will that also help the seller's credit with you taking over their mortgage?
It depends if their credit is already late or not, and when did I stop the bleeding. So if they, for example, one person may say, well, man, I just lost my job and I don't know how I'm going to make next month's mortgage payment. If I get into that position soon enough, I can make that next month's mortgage payment. So their credit will be maintained. But if I'm getting in this situation, if the mortgage is 5, 6, 7, 8 months old and it hasn't been paid, I can't do anything with that, other than stop the bleeding at 8, 9 months of non-payments. Now, sometimes it'd be a situation, and I'm not talking about Maryland when I'm talking about subject twos of homeowners that living in the property. So let me make that distinction, because like I said, we invest in multiple states. So when we're doing subject twos in Maryland, it's strictly on properties that are non-owner occupant. In Maryland, there's a law that says you cannot go after somebody that's in foreclosure that's over 60 days late on their mortgage and they live in the property. It's called the Protection of Homeowner and Foreclosure Act. You cannot do that in Maryland. So I don't do subject twos with homeowners that live in the property in Maryland. I do it in other states, and I do it also with non-owner occupants in Maryland. So that's the distinction. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice?
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
One question. All right. I don't know if this was discussed when I went to the restaurant, but short sales, did you speak about that to avoid or?
No, well, there's no strategy I would avoid. The only point is, will the strategy work in the jurisdiction or the location where you're at? Short sales absolutely will do. I don't do as many short sales as I do other strategies. In fact, in the last 12 months, I've only done one. That's not my strategy of choice. My strategy of choice is, in most situations, on the people that I'm going after, is taking over properties and rehabbing and selling through other strategies. We're doing about 12 different marketing strategies, so we get a lot of different ways in which we do deals. But absolutely, a short sale is an excellent way to provide that the circumstances are in place for you to get a good discount on the deal. But don't think in terms of boutique strategies, because you hear gurus talking about short sales and buying bank REOs and foreclosures. Those are people that normally have books and stuff to sell. A short sale should not be a main strategy. A short sale should be an additional strategy or the different additional exit out of an actual strategy that you're doing, or an additional exit out as a way to make money based on the deal that you're working on, not as your main strategy of doing deals.
That one deal that I had called you about, I got Rosetta to do the short sale.
Excellent.
So now they're working on that.
We can't hear her.
But she's talking about, Annie's one of the mastermind students. We talked about a short sale deal that she's working on. She's talking about she got the agent to work on, that's working on a short sale right now for her.
What is a short sale?
Great question. I don't know why I keep assuming the obvious. Great question, great question. What is a short sale? A short sale is an agreement with a seller to agree to have the mortgage company take less than what's owed on the mortgage. Hence the word short sale. So you're negotiating with the mortgage company for the mortgage company to accept less than what's owed on the property. For example, if $100,000 is owed on the property, you may negotiate with the lender to say, will you accept $70,000? Meaning short of the amount that's actually owed, 100 to 70. You just made a negative on that actual mortgage balance. That's what a short sale is. Getting the mortgage company to agree to take less than what's owed on the mortgage.
Hi, I had a
question in regards to tax sales. Some time ago, I was in an auction online with PG County, because it's like different counties have tax sales, and you can go online and register as a bidder. But I was, not much on cash, so I just did one on a couple of land that was off of Branch Avenue. And actually, they redeemed a few months later. I was just dabbling to see how the system worked, and I did redeem and got some interest off of it and the penalties. But there's times where, of course, you luck out after 6 months and you can actually foreclose. You can do that motion. But my question is, what about those that did not get chosen or did not get picked up by investors? Because you have over-the-counter lists that I have to check on recently at the courthouse here in Baltimore. I'd love for you to share your experiences, because those might be, I know it's some junk properties, but I don't know, there might be a chance to get some property on those lists, and I'd love to hear from you, if you've gone that route.
5 years ago, I went that route, didn't get not one damn deal.
Okay.
Didn't do it any other, so I abandoned that strategy, and that's because all I got was lien certificates where the person was paying off the actual lien amount and the interest and so on. Now, does it mean it doesn't work? No, it doesn't mean that. You can't do everything. Like I said, we're doing 12, 14 different marketing strategies. Lien certificates isn't one of those strategies. I just haven't had success with it. Now, when it's done correctly, it's, in my opinion, it's a matter of lucking up. And I like to say that because of the fact that more often than not, a mortgage company will not let you foreclose on a tax lien property that has a significant mortgage amount. They're not going to let you do it because they're going to protect their interests. Property that has $180,000 mortgage is not going to let you file a foreclosure and not pay that actual lien off for $13,000, for $9,000, for $5,000. They're not going to let you do it. You were right about the point where you're talking about, for lack of a better word, properties that have white chalk stains around them that was featured in the wire. Those type of properties, you could probably get in some circumstances where there's not a significant mortgage valuation on it, and or where it's pretty much the seller wants somebody to take it away from them. But I haven't had success in them, so I don't speak on anything that I haven't tested and done myself. That's just me. Now, anyone in the room who have had success with tax liens?
I did get 2 properties from tax liens.
Excellent.
But I think in Maryland, it's not like you can get a property at the tax. Oh, you always need to bid pretty high. But still, it's maybe about 40–50% of the assessed value.
Excellent. Thank you.